We're going to observe any of this? Anyway, we're going to have that example. I'd like to read you some of those quotes from that, from a different section rather than Leviticus. But anyway, anyway, I was just saying that if I do keep you late, it's because I'm in the middle of a sentence or something. I think it's a bad place to stop off. And on the other side of it, I think if someone is actually working on your behalf extra time, you know, it's something more than the people who work less time for you. So in the end, it's really a mark of respect to you that someone's willing to stay 2 minutes extra. And you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, let's just slough off 9:15, let's just slough off at 9:30, and so on. I would have normally sloughed off at 9:30 to some extent, but since I felt we're a bit behind, I thought I should do as much as I can. Anyway, that having been said, let bygones be bygones. Let's see where we left off. We were talking about Abraham. We were talking about the three different versions of this issue of Abraham's wife, or Isaac's wife, being his sister. And one version even says, well, you know, she actually was his sister, you know, his half-sister, so on and so forth. I think one version actually says that, so he wasn't even lying. It is true that people from northern Syria did, in those days, sometimes marry their half-sisters, or their, you know, I don't think they married their full sisters. So it was very close, and it's a known thing in the royal families of northern Syria that I've studied, that people did in fact marry their half-sisters to some extent. So that isn't so completely off the wall as it may seem. There were things like that going on. So anyway, we have this this steely sort of thing that I told you about. This very old piece of information that has names of kings and places on it that seem very much like material we get off the Ebla scrolls. So I think, in fact, that this is a very old bit of material, and you see it reads differently than anything else in here. And it refers to Abram as Abram the Hebrew, which is different. No other section of the Bible ever called him that or referred to him like that. It sounds like someone who knew what they were talking about, that this guy who called himself a Hebrew was the first Hebrew, or one of the first Hebrews, and it looks like a commemorative plaque of some kind. So it looks to me like that is probably the oldest identifiable bit of material in the Old Testament. And I would say that really is something from 2000 BC. That doesn't mean that it was written in 2000 BC. I mean, that doesn't mean the person who wrote the narrative wrote it in 2000 BC. That means he, like I would do, if you saw a plaque of Dante and you put it in your paper, you know, what was said on the plaque regarding Dante in Florence, you were writing about Dante and you quoted the plaque that was there commemorating him from 1200 or something like that. You could write that in 2000, but it would still be from a piece of information 800 years old. And I think that's about the size of it here. This is from a bit of information, I would say 1,000 years before this is written. That's just my own feeling. You have a different feeling. Certainly, by all means, go according to your own lights on that. So the next episode, of course, and these episodes, as you see, don't really have a sequence about them as such. There is the promise now given to Abraham again. We have several different versions of this promise about his descendants being very numerous and the land being, in this case, line 18 of chapter 15, the land from the Nile of Egypt to the Tigris or Euphrates in Iraq, which wouldn't make people very happy these days, as you know. Then on top of that is another promise here. What we just finished there was Yahwist, 16, and it's still Yahwist. far as the material